How do you turn normal city trucks into smart AI value giving trucks that make a difference in a city? Hey, I'm Judy Glory, and I'm so eager, happy, enthusiastic to come and share the story we'll be talking about today. How a mayor from a different country. Last week we were in Ghana. This week we're going to Argentina and see how someone in public services can make an impact with AI. I am Judith Glory, and it is with a lot of joy that I am coming to you today with another episode of AI. See AI in action, how AI can be used to create impact, positive impact. And as you've been hearing since last week, I can't wait to tell the story of this mayor, how he made things different, not putting extra money, putting a lot of expenses, leveraging what he already had. Before the end of today's episode, you will hear the full story of how he did this. How do you turn just the usual city trucks into high smart technology that can make a difference and in the process create more trust with your citizens, have even more impact and bring the citizen in to build and transform the city? That's the story of impact we'll be talking about today. And oh, if you didn't forget, it is happening. We are in day two of the AI for Good Summit happening in Geneva. And we'll talk a little bit about it. Already a lot of good things, more than 170 countries participating, more than 11,000 people register, guys. More than 11,000 and more than 1,000 demonstration. We're not talking about what is possible, but real things that have been created by teams, by organization. And there in Geneva, you have presidents, you have CEO, you have researchers, you have students that have their works to present. If you are in Europe, I would really advise to just take a train, go and see what is happening. If you're curious to see what is possible with AI, that's the place to be. And the good thing I love about this is even if you are not there, you can sign up, just go and ask Google or whatever tool you're using, AI for Good. You will land in the link on how you can connect and participate even remotely. It's really something if you're curious, if you want to know, if you want to connect, as I like to say, if you're just curious to know what is going on in your industry, in the type of work you do, how people are leveraging emerging technology to make a difference. That's the place to be. Definitely, there will be one episode in this series that we would devote to the learning, to the specific things, the captivate things happening, so that you also, whether you lead a team of technologists, whether you lead a non-for-profit, whether you lead a small, big, or ultra large organization, what are some learning, some tools, some best practice that you can leverage from AI for good this year? Whew, Judy, you can hear all the passion I have for this. So we will dive right in. But before I tell you this beautiful story happening in Luján, I would like to ask you from what we said last time, from what you saw last time. Hey, what is the pain point? What is the challenge? What is the thing AI can help you solve? From the beautiful story of Nikki and Chaco Food and what is happening in Ghana last week, we learned the one action we walked away with was, what is one thing, one pinpoint that if resolved will make a difference for your team, your organization, your clients? You don't start by following the technology, you start by narrowing down, identifying, clarifying the problem you need to solve. That's step one. So, the walk away you had last week, the one action that you were called upon to do, answer this question with two aspects to it. One, what is the pain point? And two, what data do you have around that pain point? So if you wrote it somewhere, bring it out, because today you will walk away with another action to add on that that will make you make progress with your AI initiative. So today, just three things. We'll hear a story as we will do for all the stories you will hear in this series. Hear the stories with details on the pain point, what they did, what was the outcome, and from the story, we will move into what does that mean for you? What can you learn? What can you learn from that story, from that leader, from that organization that you can also apply in your own situation for your team, for your client to move forward your AI led initiative. So, from the learning, we will walk away. You will always walk away from this series with one thing, not 10 things, one thing. And as you keep doing the one thing for the week, you will make progress with your AI initiative. So we will dive right in and learn the very crispy, the details of the story of how you could transform even your own city trucks into a smart city solution right after this little break. This is already day two of the summit, and yesterday there were some great stuff. I was particularly touched by the workshop around how to bring young girls in. You know, anything related to women empowerment is a topic I really carry to my heart. And to see how some organization in Africa and Asia, how they're bringing young girls to make them have interest in innovation with AI. That's so cool. But as I promised, we will do a whole recap of the wonderful learning and impact, not just for women, for leaders, for technologists. I'm working on that. Let me know in the comments if there are some specific aspects, because guys, I tell you there's so much content available, and I would like to tune the content so that it speaks to your needs. Are there some specific aspects of the AI for good that you'll be interested to hear more about? Let me know in the comment section, and I will make sure that when I do the episode on AI for Good Summit, I choose that angle. Time to hear about our mayor, about this initiative. Time to go to Argentina. Let's go. And do you see this beautiful view? I mean, it looks nice. I would really be proud living in such a city. Well, yeah. This is the beautiful road plain, and because this person, this is the mayor Esteban, will be talking about, he worked well with his team to implement and work on the road so that all the potholes are taken care of. But it has not always been like this. So before, what was the process I like? And when you work in an organization to make and build a case for whatever you want to propose and get the approval of the leadership, is good to show the before and after. So how was the process in Luján to manage potholes? Well, clients, citizens will, if they see a pothole that is, we don't like potholes. I don't like to drive my car where there's a huge, you can break your car. And we like to avoid potholes. That's why in a lot of cities, in a lot of towns, there's kind of a budget, a team. Some people are hired to take care of that. How was the process before they implemented this very smart solution? Well, the solution was the approach, the process was a citizen will call and file a complaint or let the city know that there's a big pothole developing in this area, and that ticket, that call will go into a backlog prioritization, and in general it took like months before that pothole will be fixed. So between the time the citizen files and says there's something happening here, we cannot really drive our cars, and the city teams to come and fix the pothole, it takes months. But with the smart solution that the mayor and the city implemented, we move from months to days. Really, guys, from months to days, that's a lot of efficiency. That's a lot of efficiency. So, how did the mayor succeed? Let's talk about the process, what they did, and I think I could get the details of the process here. So, the mayor reflected, maybe even sharing the details of his process. The mayor reflected, you remember last week when we talked about it's not all about having a lot of money, the biggest budget, the latest technology. Have a methodology, and I'll repeat it here. What is the challenge? Two, what do you have in terms of assets? So the mayor listen. What is the thing that comes up? And again, I say turn to your data. How do you listen to the citizen? What's the tool you're using in your own city, in your own community? Is it forms? Is it call? Looking at the forms at the call, you can have insights on the most painful pinpoint, the thing that your citizens won't be fixed, the biggest, the loudest things people complain about. So this mayor listened to what his constituents were complaining about, and potholes was one of the biggest. Being clear on the thing he needed to fix, the next thing was, what do we have? This is where I feel like, oh my God, this is a lot of ingenuity. Does this speak to you? I'm sure. I think I'll disappear for you to look at this. Yes, in your city, I'm sure you have something like this, some kind of truck, another version of this to come and carry the dirt in the city. So they already had this. Remember last week we talked about clarify the problem, and then step number two, what asset do you have? So when they went to the step of asset, well, the mayor, they acknowledged that the trucks were an asset. And if you look at the picture very well, they didn't buy new trucks. These are the trucks that already were there. What they did, they added some camera. If you look on the lower here, they just added camera to trucks they already had. So what's the process? When the camera on the trucks, when people are driving the trucks, the camera take the pictures of the road. And the pictures of the road are sent to an AI that will process. So it'll come up with some kind of pictures like this. And you can see the size of the hole, and the AI will process the picture and classify them, so small, medium, large. And the AI will also leverage geological information to help inform at the speed we have erosion going on. There's a great chance this will be a bigger thing that needs urgent fix by this time. So we have pictures, we have AI, we have classification, we have geolocalization, and then it is put into the system, and they can do a triage of all the picture. And before even a constituent, a citizen can call, the data they have can tell them, watch out, on this street we have a pothole this size, this level, that needs maintenance. That's how they could move from reactive to proactive, from waiting for the citizen to file a complaint to call the thing that was causing months before it could be tackled. Taking the data, the analysis, and the classification and the geolocalization, they were able to know that this place, this street, with the holes we have there, and considering the climate changes and whatever is happening there, we need to plan for the maintenance of pothole on this city, on this neighborhood. That's how they move from reactive to proactive. As a consequence, there are some potholes that were fixed. Maintenance is planned without waiting for the citizens to intervene. That's genius. That's creativity to me. And if I want to come back here again to the process to show that capture is a picture on a truck they already had. I want you to even have a look at them, how they do it. So we saw the trucks here. They take the picture here. We have the city employees. Here they are doing the analysis. So the real innovation here, it was just adding those cameras and putting this AI tool in place to do the analysis. And the beautiful thing again, as you will discover in a couple minutes, is that this mayor and his team, he didn't work alone. He had a whole team, which is another point we'll talk some more about in the learning portion. Well, they use open source solution. What are open source solution? For paid solution, there is a big open source community that strives to make technology available for free. Did you hear me? For free. Like, we are all used to Windows, but there are some people who are also using computers, but they are not paying for their operating system. They're using Unix and Linux system, which are open source. You don't pay for that. And it's not just operating system. You can have open source for video treatment, for image. There are a lot of these, and even for AI, there are open source solution. This mayor, this city, they leverage open source solution. And I want to take a little break here to talk to my technical people who are watching. Why not consider open source solutions? You can have open source solution, you can have data set available for you to use and start to train your own internal. A lot of leaders I'm working with, I work a lot of tech people in tech. They may consider that route because the concern is data privacy. We're not sure we want to put IP up there on the cloud. Who actually controls? How about considering open source in a intranet, so your data don't travel, it's not on the cloud, but it's in your local network? That could be a way to get started with the AI thing, especially if you say you don't have a lot of means. And this is also why I am listening to hear what is happening in Geneva around tiny machine learning solution. We want to show everyone, all those interested in innovation, that you can actually do this without pouring all your money, because people are like, it's good, but it takes a lot of resources. There are possibilities. Open source is one way to do it. If we come back, move from technology, well, they did this. Let's look at the outcome. What were the outcome? Let's look at some numbers. Well, because of this service that this mayor and his team put in place, 80% precision. So those pictures that the trucks are taking, being treated with the AI process classified and allowed to make notification for proactive maintenance, 80% precision. That's good. I mean, all of this is done with machine. The human intervention, well, to look and confirm and plan, but that's a lot. It's quite good, 80% precision. And objective prioritization is not because a citizen calls and maybe calls many times. No, they have evidence, because in most cases, when the citizen calls, they already have some data around that localization, the size of the hole, how deep it is, how urgent, to put it in the right priority. And because of that, because of this initiative, well, they reduced the maintenance by 40%, like almost half. The more I read this, the more I research this story, the more I'm like, oh my God, this is genius. This, like, who thinks like this? Well, someone decided to leverage technology. And a lot of you watching this, you are technologists. What can you suggest to your community? to the people leading your city. We need more thinking, more people who can think out of the box and propose. And if you are an elected official working for public services, how about considering AI to make a difference? Just a thought I'm putting out there. But this mayor did. And the beautiful thing again, you will see lower down when we'll be talking about the learning. People like his idea. His citizen, they like, he won so many prizes. And a lot of people talked about the mayor. As a consequence, neighboring countries were copying. You will hear before the end of today's episode how someone just couple kilometers copied and how they implemented it in a beautiful way. So the methodology works. The methodology works, it is repeatable, it is transferable. It works so well that because of the success of the pothole, the mayor and his team, they asked themselves the question, how can we leverage this thing that we could put in place to solve other problems? We will talk some more about that in the learning portion. You can see my passion talking about this because the more I dig into the story, the more I see it is possible to make an impact, to make a difference, to use leveraging, to leverage emerging technologies to make a difference. So, in a couple of minutes, we will delve into, okay, what does this mean for you? Mayor Esteban did something wonderful. His citizens are happy. Did I tell you that after all this work, he even makes the data set, he publishes the data set so anyone living there can have access to the initiative, how many potholes, and they can have access to the data. They know how many signals have been done, what is coming next. So he opens, shares the data, and as a consequence, well, you've seen more trust from his citizens. More people want to get involved in the life of the city and more willing to contribute, more willing to provide data to help build this smart city that they're putting in place. That sounded like such a very good story that I wanted to share with you. And as you're watching this again, I'm asking, what can you do? What can you offer? How can you get involved for the betterment of your community, of the city where you're living in? Well, in the next section, we'll go into the learning. What does that mean for you? Judith, I'm not leading the city, I'm leading a team of tech, and we have the pressure to be efficient, to do more with less, to have more impact with less money. What does that mean? In a couple minutes, we will be talking about the learning, three things you can learn from the story of this mayor and his team. The learning, what you can apply so that we will land with the one action, just one thing that you can do this week and make a progress with your AI initiative. Let's come back after this little break. Let's go to Geneva. Come back. The mayor succeeded to make a huge impact by transforming city trucks into an AI smart solution that made them move from months to fix potholes to days. So, what does that mean for you? Lesson number one, we talked about it last week, but I will still come back with it and remind you. Start with the problem, start with where the complaints are. Start instead of rushing. A lot of people talk AI, 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 instead of rushing to follow the technology, rush to understand the complaint. What is the complaint that needs fixing? And some people send me emails, not directly under the video, but they reach out on LinkedIn and they were like, oh, yeah, Judy, we may have a lot of things that need fixing. How do we identify the right one to zero in, to choose, and to select as the number one thing? So I wanted to come back. This is really core. We see that companies and teams that are moving forward, that have really zeroed in the right thing that they want to connect, they move faster. So here are some pointers. I'm not saying this is the only way, but here are some pointers that can help you identify the initiative that will make the huge difference. Number one, what is the pain point that keeps coming to your board meetings, that keeps coming to the SLT meeting? What problem has a big volume? What comes often? And one thing I love to say is the insight is already there. You don't even have to guess this. One way it can look crazy or stupid, but just try. If you just go through the reports, the PowerPoints, the minutes of your meeting, you have that run through an AI, it can highlight the key thing, the key pain point that comes. So from the minutes, from the reports, from the executive presentation of all your board meetings, you can identify. So one thing is the pain point that comes again and again. Another pointer that can help you, number two, is what is a shared. What is a shared pain point? What is this thing that this pain point, this challenge that you're sharing? I don't know, your tech, sharing with marketing, with finance, because when you put the impact on your team, on two teams, on three teams, it makes it bigger. So solving that one thing will have a huge impact, a transversal impact. That's one other pointer that you can use to identify what could be your AI opportunity. The third one essentially is what is this thing that if solved, the value would be undeniable, like visible by everyone. These are three pointers that can help you. In the case of Lujan, Mayor Esteban and his team, when they listened, it was clear not only the reports were showing a lot of complaints around how it was slow, the time it was taking to fix potholes. So data was saying that's the way to go, and it was visible. I mean, they were riding, they were their car also in the same roads. So these are some pointers to help you guide which one do we choose. Again, the learning point here, start with the problem. The next thing when you're clear on the problem is, you remember the question last time was, what do you have? What do you have regarding that problem? And if we bring it back to the story of this city, of this mayor, well, he made a list of assets. And among the assets were the trucks. They already had trucks. So they didn't go and buy new trucks equipped with camera. No, no, no. The trucks were already there. They already had trucks, which is why I want to turn to you again and ask, what do you already have that could be turned into an asset? And this is a question I really, really enjoy asking people I work with. What do you have regarding that pain point? A lot of organization, a lot of leaders I'm working with now are challenged with reorganizing the team, how efficiency, how can we work better, smarter? And then I always offer the question, what do you have around efficiency? What document, what data, what? And it is phenomenal always when you start to reflect on what do I actually have, what can come up. I don't know if a lot of people thinking about an AI technology, let's get updated, innovative, will think about trucks. But the trucks were there. They just added a camera and an app. So I'll invite you to think out of the box. for the pain point you've identified, you and your team, that comes up in those meetings. It could be tickets, it could be calls, it could be complaints. Whatever comes up in your board meeting, what do you already have around that? And think out of the box, no limit. What do you have? And just make a list. And from the list of things that come up, what can you do with that? What could be created with that? These were the two questions of last week, which brings me to a place where I will introduce the question or the one action for this week. What can you measure around that pain point to show progress? We need to move from point A to point B. This is essential. What I like to say, if there's in coaching, you have a coach and you don't have a point B, we are in trouble. You can have all the good talks that you want, but it is action that will allow for transformation. It is action that allows you to move from here to here. You cannot stay here and talk all the innovation, the progress you want, but if there's no action, you'll never get here. So to demonstrate that you move from here to here, we need evidence, which is why I like to talk. For those who work with me, you already know that, be it in coaching, mentoring, evidence is your evaluation. Evidence is your evaluation. So, what can you measure? What number can you track? What is this thing that you can use to measure and communicate? Because of our AI initiative, because of our AI project, we move from this to this. Well, this mayor did a beautiful, and they do that so well. I mean, if you can, please take some time and go on their website. You will see a lot of statistics, a lot of numbers. I like to say numbers are data is your evaluation, because data is not feelings, it's not I feel, I think, or where you need to have someone to come and defend you. Data is showing that something has changed. Data is showing we move from point A to point B. So as you're thinking about your own AI initiative, if you have one that is started, what are you measuring? That's the sure way. I mean, I'm seeing this with people I'm working with. Someone who has evidence. We use Copilot to create documentation, blah blah blah. 3 months ago we had nothing. Today we have 3 processes documented. That's a number. That's something that executives like to hear about. And those who speak in that terms with evidence, data that anyone can see. If you say 3 processes documented, can people access the documented process? That is proof, and proof it speaks louder than all the talk, all the novels. So as you're starting, as you're reflecting, as you want to make progress with your AI initiative, what can you measure? Some quick numbers here on for Mayor Esteban. Well, a couple minutes ago you saw it. 80% more precision. So they're more precise. The app, the AI solution is more and more precise. 40% reduction. That's a big thing. Being able to see that before manual maintenance was taking, we had, I don't know, 200 a month. Today we have 150. That's huge progress, because if you calculate the cost, time, people, money it took to move from 200 to 150, that's progress. And that's the type of measure that gets you the budget, that get the additional headcount, that gets the yes, the approval of the board. 40% more. There are even some more statistics here. They move from 10 to 40%. They could proactive maintenance. So they didn't have to wait for people to fill a form, to come and explain and wait a month, because of the AI that analyzes the pothole, the classification. Proactively, city workers could go and do the maintenance before. From 10 to 40, they saved a lot of money. And we say manual inspection took like 40%. They cut the time for manual inspection in half. Why? Because the pictures, you remember the trucks? The pictures of the trucks, they take the picture analysis classification, half time. Just imagine if each person on your team, they have like half the time to do the work. They can put this time to devote for other things. Maybe that's what they will use to work on their next AI project. But these are real numbers. And as I said, another beautiful thing with this mayor is he puts everything online. You can go and see, you can go and download, you can go and have a look. And that's why he's winning more and more trust of his constituents. If you're watching this and you are a civil servant, you're working for in a public service, you're working for people in your community, that's really a good example. I encourage to go and read and learn. What can you learn from this mayor and his team? And I want to share one thing that the chief of staff, as I mentioned the mayor too much, but as I say, he didn't do it alone. His chief of staff says he's called like a data champion, but he says it's mini progress. Sometimes when we read, you feel like, oh my God, this is big, this is huge. But this person who has been a big actor in putting everything that they were able to do, he says, Matthias, start and keep going consistently. Small wins have small impact that become replicable, scalable, and contagious. I really, really, really like the encouragement. Go small. And I know, I don't know if you recall last week I was saying I'm so grateful for Professor Fagan who was saying crawl, walk before you run. The idea, the encouragement is start somewhere with what you have. Start and just keep going. If you want to wait to have that latest technology, the latest thing, it may take a lot of time. But if you think, what do I have today? They started with your trucks. What can the trucks do? Maybe first they added the camera and then they put, while they were playing with the open source solution, and then they added and they started treating this. But it worked. And the beautiful thing again with the story, all of this happened under a year. They were able to do this wonderful transforming just normal city trucks into a smart city solution in under a year. Now, a little disclaimer here. The mayor had the idea, he brought his team, they do the reflection. One key thing I want to share it where are my slides. There was a team, a governance team. This one is so essential for AI projects that are very successful. Do you have a steering committee thinking about AI? Is there a group of people thinking of, okay, we want to leverage emerging technologies. How do we do that? How do we organize? What process? How are we going to treat the data? How do we align? This mayor could go faster because he had a great governance team and there were some alliances with the city. So he didn't do it alone. He partnered with other organizations, other people doing this. And I want to invite you in your organization. You may say, well, gee, I don't have all those partners in your organization, in your team. Who are the AI enthusiasts that could come together and start that steering committee? And by the way, if you have a group of people like that, what is happening in Geneva in this week, the AI for Good, there are lots of resources, lots of framework, a lot of things made available, shared that you can leverage to get started on your governance committee, to adjust, to do it well, to learn from other people how they're doing it. And that's why I'm just like, go, 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 give it a try. Just sign up. It's free. You can go and learn and network, learn from those who are far in front, get their documents, and accelerate your own AI initiative project. It is possible. And there's so much passion in my voice sharing the story because this is a real example of AI for good in action. You saw here that the constituents, there's greater trust. There's greater trust. And I feel like sharing even more benefits. Roads are safer. They're saving money. They are more efficient in managing their budget. Things are more transparent because all of this is put on the website that anyone can access and they're bringing people in. If you have some time, if you are a mayor working for a city, go and have a look. You may learn a lot by the example of this mayor. And this works so well that I think the last slide, I'm already being told you talk too much, get out of here. So before getting out of the studio, I would like to say the method works because of the success of this initiative. The mayor and his team, they reflected, how can we repeat this? The assets we have, the processes, the governance we have, what other problem can we leverage these assets to solve? So there's another initiative on how to leverage the very trucks and the picture to for garbage and to have some impact on the climate. But they'll use the same picture, they'll use the same trucks. So the method works, it is repeatable, and it is transferable to other challenges, but also transferable to other cities. I told you people like the initiative of the mayor. Him and the team won a lot of awards that a different city is copying. They copied and they also did their own AI initiative for the same pothole. I'm not sure yet. I've not yet agreed with production if we'll do another episode, but a different city copied the same playbook and they implemented it and they improved it. And the killer here is they didn't actually leverage a huge team of tech. They leveraged university interns. Now I gave you a secret. What a lot of people are using to make some huge progress with their AI, leverage students into data. They need some practical things to work on. So if you're watching this and you're interested, any partnership, can you make a partner with the university? Students, they want real case, real data to work on. And they love, like, I got exposed to open source when I was at the university. So there might be a lot of students who can wait, who are looking forward to help you sort out, to implement some AI solution for the business problem that you were thinking. Curious question for you. How open are you to leverage university and students? But this other city, a different mayor, they heard about the story of Mayor Esteban and they copied the model and they were successful. So they could really catch the pothole. And with the student, they gave new idea. How about checking that is a true positive or false positive? So they added another layer of verification before the classification, as we saw a couple minutes ago. So the model works. It is repeatable. It is transferable. And I'm going to put up the slides again just to ask you, what does this create in you? What does this give you the envy as they did? You can do in your own city. Do you have trucks? Yes. Can you put cameras in there? Yes. Are these open source solutions still available? Yes. So now the decision is yours. But definitely, it is possible to make an impact and leverage technology to create good in your team, your organization, your city. Catch you right after this little break. my God, you got carried away and just exploded the time. I'll let you go with the one action for this week. Last week, what pinpoint, what data do you have? I'm just going to add one thing to do. What can you measure to show a before and after? What problem, what data, what can you measure to show the impact, to show the difference, to show how your AI initiative is making a difference? That's the reflection for this week. And as you do that, as you get clear on the pinpoint, the problem, as you list the assets you have. You saw trucks here. It could be a list of tickets. It could be documents. It could be the complaints that have been filed. It could be the meeting minutes. It could be the PowerPoints. Whatever asset you have regarding the pinpoint you want to solve, and what can you measure to show a difference, a before and after? This is the reflection I invite you to do to make progress with your AI initiative. It was a pleasure, and I can't wait to meet you next week to share yet another powerful story of real impact, real challenge, real leader, real organization, how they solve the pain point leveraging technology and AI, so that you, like these leaders, you can learn from the story. You can apply something to make some progress with your own AI initiative. And if you're still is fuzzy, you're still not clear, hey, below the video there's a link for you to book a 20 minutes with me. It's free to just talk through whatever is going on, and before the end you will come up with something. This guarantee you come up with some ideas on AI initiative. So if this is something that interests you, feel free to use the link and book some time with me. If you're already clear with what you want to work on, have some question. There could be technical, budget, influence. Thank you, Peter, for sending your question on how do you challenge leadership to be more clear on what they want. A lot of leaders say we want an AI, whatever, but the specifics of the outcome, we are not clear around that. I hope my answer helped. And if there's any more such question, bring them along. And as I said before, if you have questions around governance, if you have questions around technical, some people ask me things about open source, but they were not precise. Bring them on, because we want you to make progress to leverage this emerging technology, considering the risk, but leverage them to make a difference, to make an impact, a positive impact. That's the goal of the series. I am Judith Glory, and it was a pleasure sharing this moment with you. I can't wait to share yet another story next week, Wednesday, 11 EST time en français. Et merci à tous les francophones qui ont regardé. J'ai vu, il y avait beaucoup de mouvement puis de l'engagement. Fait que vous m'avez montré que vous voulez qu'on continue. Et puis, ben, la série va continuer en français. Je continue d'observer. J'ai promis de le faire au moins tout le mois de juillet dans les 2 langues. Merci à mon public francophone. Vos questions, vos commentaires sont très appréciés. Mercredi prochain, une autre histoire, another story. Either will come close here to Mountain to hear how they leverage AI for transcription, translation in Akkadian language, which is a version of French. Either will be talking about that, but I'm trying to get someone who is involved in the AI for Good Summit to come and tell us, to give us crispy, the latest. If that one can be concluded with production, it will be a joy bringing you someone right out of the summit, AI for Good. Else, we will hear how another mayor used technology to make a difference for their constituent, just a couple kilometers away from Fredericton, where I am. It was a pleasure. I'm waiting for your question. And if there's another angle, specific question you would like the series to go, let me know. For sure, as we go through the month of July, more stories. In August, we'll focus more on strategy to show progress right now, wherever you are. And then by September, we'll be talking about strategic plan. What are you and your team trying to achieve in 2027? How can you integrate in that longer term, 3, 5 years, um, AI? And to be this proactive, the trailblazer in your organization. How about walking into the strategic meeting in September and October with a clear strategic plan with AI integration? That's what we'll be doing in September. Until then, it's a pleasure and I can't wait to hear from you. Take care and thank you for being here.